Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Presley, and in this video today I want to give you my full review for Thor by Jason Aaron Complete Collection Volume 4. Now, if you have watched my channel recently, you would know I've been loving the Thor Complete Collection by Jason Aaron. Books 1 through 3 were all amazing. 1, I think, still being my favorite, but 2 was amazing as well. 3 was good. It was my least favorite so far, but they were all fantastic. And Thor Volume 4, just going to have to spoil the review a little bit. It is my favorite one so far. This was a fantastic book. Now, it starts off with issues 1 through 5 of Unworthy Thor, which is basically answering the question of where has Odin's son been ever since he lost worthiness of Mjolnir, of his hammer, because Jane Foster and a lot of people in Asgard have already made it clear that they're missing Odin's son. Where is he? What has he been doing? What has he been up to? And this little 5-issue miniseries dives into that a little bit. Basically, with the help of Beta Ray Bill, he's trying to escape the Collector's grasp because the Collector stole old Asgard and the old hammer from the Ultimate Universe, which that was a whole little thing that happened at the end of Secret Wars. Check my review out for that as well. But yeah, basically what happened in here was that there was a hammer from old Asgard and from this old battle world that was snuck into the main Marvel universe, and the Collector wanted it for himself, but he couldn't pick it up. So he decided to transport the entirety of the continent of old Asgard into his collection, and Thor and Beta Ray Bill are trying to do something about that. It's actually a really fun, interesting series. It's only 5 issues, but it's drawn by Olivier Coipel, and his artwork is gorgeous. I'll put some panels on screen now if I can. But yeah, his artwork was beautiful. I love it. It really set a tone. It's gorgeous, and it's a different art style from Russell Dauterman, who I've very much grown accustomed to as the main Thor artist. So seeing a different person throughout here was really nice. His artwork's beautiful. It's gritty. It's nice and detailed, and I loved it. After that, we go into issues 20 to 23 of the Mighty Thor series, and these were really, really good. And then we also go to Legacy number 700 and up to issue 706, and these are all mainly dealing with Jane Foster and, her supporting cast, who are getting increasingly worried for her because she has been dying from her cancer, and every time she transforms into Thor, it gets worse. It gets worse because as she transforms into Thor, and I really like the way they explain this because it's not just like a little plot hole, they actually explain why this happens, but every time she turns into the Mighty Thor, the thunder kind of cleanses all the chemotherapy from her body, but the thunder believes that the cancer is part of her body already, so it doesn't cure the cancer, it doesn't make the cancer go away, it just clears all the chemotherapy from her system. So she's basically in this shell of the Goddess of Thunder, but she is still dying inside. Really interesting storyline. It's very sad, very poignant, because you can tell that everybody cares for this woman, especially for Jane Foster, because she's just a decent human being. She's a doctor that helps people. She's also a senator for the Congress of Worlds on Asgard, but she's really not taking care of herself. She's skipping her cancer treatments, and she's constantly turning back into the Mighty Thor, and it's killing her, and everybody is worried for her. I love that little subplot throughout here. I think it was amazing, and it eventually comes to a head towards the end of issue 705 and 706 because, and I don't want to spoil what happens, but something big happens with Jane Foster throughout here, and it was really well done. Overall, one of my favorite aspects of the entire book. But yes, throughout this book, there are a lot of different artists. Not only do we have Olivier Coipel, but we also have Russell Dauterman, Valerio Schiti, Kim Jacinto, and James Herron. And I think all their artwork is beautiful in their own rights. I especially love Russell Dauterman's and Coipel's, but Kim Jacinto has some nice artwork as well. And overall, this book is just filled with beautiful detail, beautiful character designs. We're introducing new characters throughout here, like the Queen of the Norns, and what happens with like the Threads of Fate. That was a super interesting storyline that took place on issue 700, and I really dug it. I just think Jason Aaron continues to push the boundaries of Thor throughout this book, and that's one of the reasons that I think it's my new favorite of the 4 so far, because the War of the Realms is coming. That's inevitable. It's still looming over us, and we eventually will get there when Volume 5 is happening. But for now, it's still coming, but he's still introducing us to new characters. He's still expanding the world. We got the introduction of the Mangog here. Technically, he was introduced in Volume 3 at the very end, but this is where we actually get to see him in full force. He's angry. He's a god killer. He is completely unhinged. He's just full of rage from this entire undead civilization. That's basically his origin, is that he was created by consuming the rage of an entire slayed race, and they were slain by Odin, which is why he has such a hatred for Asgard in particular. I loved it. I thought he felt unstoppable. I really loved the character design, and overall that was great. Again, we have the Queen of the Norns as well, and we have the introduction of War Thor throughout here. And War Thor is a really fun character that kind of played his role through the middle third of this book. Now, I kind of want to spoil it a little bit. I don't want to spoil too much about the War Thor, but basically, he's the one that ends up picking the old hammer from the old Asgard that the Collector was trying to take. He's the one that ends up picking it up, and it is Volstagg from Asgard. An amazing storyline, super emotional. We find out why he's so consumed by war and why he wants to become the War Thor. I don't want to spoil that directly because I feel like that's a very emotional and important part of his origin story, but I will say what they decided to do with his origin was amazing. He feels very dangerous. He goes to Muspelheim by himself to try to kill the Queen of Cinder. It's an amazing storyline, and then we need Jane Foster to come in here, not Mighty Thor, but actually Jane Foster to try to talk him down, because Volstagg's not like this. He's a jolly, happy, fat guy who just loves eating. Like, he's not a killer and he's not a murderer, but when he transforms into the War Thor, all he can think about is war and rampage and destruction. Fantastic storyline. Honestly, War Thor, the introduction of him throughout here, is one of the best parts of Jason Aaron's run so far. So those were all the amazing issues at the very, very beginning all the way to the end, but then the final issue in this book was basically a little time traveling adventure where the three goddesses of thunder, which are basically King Thor's daughters from the way, way, way future, are traveling back in time using these little space stones and trying to find Jane Foster, the mighty Thor. However, they keep finding different versions of Thor throughout history, and I love that because we got to see different art styles, and we also got to see them interacting with different versions of their father or their grandfather in the past. Really, really fun stuff. And then it was very emotional towards the end when they actually do find Jane Foster, but by this time Jane Foster had already given up being the mighty Thor, and it's just her focusing on healing her cancer. And super emotional because she gets to meet all three of them, and they're super big fans of her because they've been reading about her throughout history, because again, they're from the way, way future, so they already know everything about Jane Foster. And it was super poignant towards the very end when Jane Foster asked one of the girls to take her on a flight with their hammer again because she misses the flying, and that was one of her favorite aspects of Thor. I thought that was a beautiful, touching moment and a gorgeous way to end this entirely amazing book. So overall, if it wasn't clear already, I had to give this book a 5 stars out of 5. Every complete collection so far has been a 5 stars out of 5, but this is easily the best one. I know I really, really love the Gore the God Butcher book from the very beginning, the very first volume. However, this has to be my favorite. It is gorgeous. So many amazing new characters. I really love Russell Doddelman's artwork, and he's also supplemented by a bunch of great artists throughout here as well. Like I mentioned earlier, Olivier Coipel, Kim Jacinto, James Herron, things like that. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. I could not find a single flaw with this book. I could not put it down. It was amazing. Let me know in the comments down below if you're going to read Thor Complete Collection by Jason Aaron Volume 4. If you have, what were your thoughts? What were your opinions? And most importantly, what is your rating? If you haven't read it, this is a gorgeous series. Start from Volume 1. Definitely read it. It continues getting better and better, even though they're all perfect. And with that being said, thank you so very much for watching this graphic novel review. Please make sure to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you later.